What do we do tomorrow?
We're going to learn two blot tonight.
Okay.
They're small.
All right.
And that way we can just learn. We can learn at 8 o'clock the Navi Shir.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see how we do tonight. Yeah. We had a debate. When they put the gartel, did they put it on Aaron and then his sons, or did they do it at the same time? So Ulmanda Amar Aaron Bachar that first it was Aaron, then the sons, Vaksi V'Chagarta Osam Avneit, which implies that they were done at the same time. Amalachahu Kamash Malon, that wants to tell you the Chiddush that Avneit shall Kohen Gadol, Zeh Avneit shall Kohen Hedyot. That according to this Manda Amar, the gartel was the same, was made out of the same material, because according to the other Manda Amar was different. So the Gemara wants to know, there are two psukim. One says Vayagor Oso Avneit, that they tied his Avneit. Vayagor Osam Lamali. So then, if it's his, why is there a steer? Shmamina Aaron va'achar kach banov. So Aaron and then his sons. But how could you do v'vasachas mimishkachas? Lo tzricha de agdim. That means they all got this gartel put on before they put on any other garments. Aaron first, and sequentially the sons, but they all put on their gartel before they put on any more clothing. Then the Mishnah said, Mafrishin Kohen Gadol. Lama Mafrishin, what's the purpose of Mafrishin? So, Lama Mafrishin, Kidi Kamrinon. You already went through this. Il Rabbi Yochanan Kidi Isle. Rabbi Yochanan learned it from the Miluim, that just like in the Miluim, they had to separate the Kohen Gadol, so here as well. Or Il Reish Lakish Kidi Isle, which is like Harsina. Why couldn't they bring his wife with him? Or why did they separate him from his wife 7 days before? Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseir, we're concerned that during relations she's going to be found to be a nida, and then then he's going to be a boil nida, and a boil nida is tummy for 7 days, so he's got to separate for at least 7 days. Because remember, what they used to do, they used to clean themselves with a handkerchief before relations and then immediately afterwards. And if there was blood on the handkerchief that he cleans himself with, and we don't know whether it's at the time of Bia or after Bia, there's a suffix whether he's a boil nida. And a boil nida is Tomei Shivas Yomi. And so therefore he would be prohibited to do the avoid of Yom Kippur. Frag the Gemara, what do you mean he's going to be boil a suffix nida? Otu Bershiyas Kinon? We're not talking about Rishonim here that they're going to do this. Maybe they would have relations. V'simotze suffix nida, and in this process, we're going to find that maybe she's a suffix nida, like we said with the handkerchiefs. Amar Rabbanan Kamed Rav Chizda, Kiman, who is our Mishnah? Like Rabbi Kiva. Amar nida metama as boyala. According to Rabbi Kiva, that a nida is metame, the man who has relations with her, backwards, lemafreya. It's not at the moment that he finds blood on the handkerchief, only from then on his tummy, even backwards. That maybe she became a nida even during the time of Bia. Now, it can't be Rabbanon, because Rabbanon hold a nida metamis boyala, that a nida, the nida in this situation will not be metame lemafreya. So then there's no problem to separate from his wife during that period of time. Amar Rav Chizda, what do you mean? Afilu temi Rabbanon, because ad kan lepli Rabbanon Rabbi Kiva lebachar acher. When do the Chachamim say there's no Tumah Lemafreya, that we say that she was a nida during the Bia? That's if there's if they check with a handkerchief for a period of time, she has to get off of the bed and go wash herself and then check. So since this period of time went by, The Chachamim hold we don't call about Freya. If it's not acher, but it's only immediately after, then moidele. So they agree with Rabbi Kiva that we assume that she was a nida during Bia, and therefore he would be a boil nida. He would be tum. Amrab Zeir Shmamina. Boil nida eno kenida v'toivel bayon. Now remember, a nida at the end of her tumah, she doesn't go to the mikveh during the day. She goes to the mikveh at night. All other tumas, you go in the mikveh during the day, and then you have hair of shemesh. Because the iyam at boil nida kenida. Because if you're going to tell me a boil nida is like a nida, so Amos Tavil, so when would he have to go to the mikveh? Belele, 7 day, which is the night of Yom Kippur. So how would he do the avoida the next day on Yom Kippur? Erev Shemesh. You need Erev Shemesh. You need to have the sun go down the day after you went to the mikveh. Elalav Shmina, boil nidena kanida, and he can go to the mikveh already on the 7th day, which is Erev Yom Kippur. And by Erev Shemesh of Erev Yom Kippur, he'd be Tor. Rav Simon Ardo Amar, no. Afilu tema boil nida kanida. You're not forced to learn opposite. You could learn still that a boil nida is like a nida as well. And what are we talking about? They separated from his wife a little bit, an hour before Shkia of the 7th day before Yom Kippur. So there would have to be enough time for him to be Tohor on Yom Kippur. So this statement is going to be challenged. Anytime somebody is required to do tefillah, like by you touch a sheret, you touch a nevela, tumas meis, tfilasan bayoim. The only exceptions, nida v'yoledes, a nida and a woman who gives birth, their mikvahs at night. Now, the Gemara is medayik, nida in, but boil nida low. Boil nida is still like one of those like that have their tfilasan bayoim. Otherwise, if you were going to say that a boil nida is like a nida, the tfilasan balayla, it should have said nida v'yoledes uboil nida. So Gemara says that's not a proof because nida v'chol da'asim meribuye. When it says nida tfilasan balayla, means including a boil nida. Meisvei, I'll ask you another question. It says Balkari, a man who has a seminally mission, kamaga sheretz, his tumah is like touching his sherets, both of which when you go to the mikveh during the day, boil nida kitame meis. Now, a boil nida, the Gemara, the Mishnah is saying, or this Bryce is saying, is like a tame meis, and my lav litvila, and a tame meis also goes in the daytime, not at night. So it looks like a boil nida is not like a nida. So the Gemara says, it's not referring to the tvila, it's letumasun, meaning just like a tummy mace is 7 days, boil nida is also 7 days. That's written. You don't need a drasha for that. That's written in the psukim. Hi tumashiva ksiv hi tumashiva ksiv. It says by both halachas tumashiva. Elalav letvilasun. It must be for sure that it's talking about just like a tummy mace goes to the mikveh in the daytime and then has hair of shemesh at night. Same thing by a boil nida. Versus lo lo'olam letumasam. We still need to be told that it's a 7-day tumah like Thomas Mays. It's written in a pasuk because seifa is trichalei. The chiddush comes in the seifa of that brisa. Ela shechomer mimenu boil nida, but boil nida is more stringent than Tomei Mays because a boil nida is metame mishkav u'moishav b'tumah kala. Because remember, a boil nida, if he sits on, let's say 10 mattresses, all mattresses that he sits on, from the top to the bottom become tummy, but a tummy mace only is matami, something that he touches, which is tumakala means to matami oichlu mashkin. And but you haven't proved for me yet that a boil nida is not like a nida. However, now comes the coup de grace, toshma. The Tani Rab Chia, it says hazav v'hazava v'ametzoyer v'ametzoyros uvoyel nida utome meis tfilasen bayon nida v'yoledes tfilasen balayla. So tiyufta. So this knocks out of the box Rav Simi, who said a boil nida is like a nida. The achata mafisha mitumas base. So now, fine. You separate him from his wife because of this possibility of maybe if they have relations, she'll be a tummy mace. He'll be a boil nida. Well, why not have risheu mitumas mace? Why didn't they make a halacha that nobody could visit the Kohen Gadol's rooms in the 7 days because maybe somebody will go in and die, and all of a sudden it'll be tummy mace. Why aren't we worried about that? Tumas mace hutri hi betzipur. You know what? The avodah of the Kohen Gadol is an avodah of tzibur, and tumas mace is a concept like we've learned by Korban Pesach, right? Even if Klal Yisrael is tamei, they can still do the Korban Pesach because it's considered like in some way a Korban Sibur. So we're not concerned about Tuma. He can do the avoid in the Beis Hamikdash Karagil because the avoid of Kohen Gadol B'Yom Kippurim is a Korban Sibur. We're not concerned if Tumas Mace doesn't passel. However, that's only if you learn that Tumas Mace is Hutra. That means it's completely permitted, as opposed to the concept of Dechuya, that Dechuya means you do whatever you can to avoid it. It's not a complete heter. Lechatchila, you should be careful to do it at B'tahara. And because, so Ravina Amar, Afilu Tema Tumas Ameis Dechuya B'tzipur. You don't have to learn Pshat in our Mishnah that said that you don't have to worry about people visiting the Kohen Gadol. We could learn that Tumas Mace is not a hutter, it's a dechuya. The thing is, we don't have to worry about it because Tumas Mace lo shchicha. To worry that somebody's going to go in and die in the presence of Kohen Gadol, that's not something that happens. Tumas Mace lo shchicha. But having relations with a wife who could become a suffix nida, that's something that can happen. So that's what we worry about, and therefore we're mafrishin him from his wife. But regarding having to worry about somebody going in and visiting the Kohen Gadol and dying, that we didn't have to worry about. Okay, now that you mentioned Itmar, Tumas HaMeis, regarding Korban Tzibur of Nachman Amar Hutri B'Tzibur, it's a completely permitted. It's a permission. And you don't have to worry about it. It's as if there was no Tumah there. Rav Shesha Amar Tchuya B'Tzibur. No, it's Tchuya. Even though that the hakravas of a korban tzibur, like Rashi says, can be done, it's not a full hutter. It's not a heter. It's bekoishi hutra. V'lo heter gomer. Chomad matzin laduri madrin shiasa b'tar. Whatever you can do to do it b'tar, you should do. So the Gemara says like this: Hey chadiyek etmeinu torim bahu beisav. So we know there's 6 batei av in each family that comes. Each one works on a certain day. So let's say there were Tomei Kohanim and Toharim Kohanim. So Kulam Eloi Pligi de Toharim Avdi Tmen Lo Yavdi. So everyone agrees, both Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes, that the Kohanim that are Toharim should do the Avodah, not the Tmeim. Because certainly an Avodah B'Tahara is better. Ki Pligi Laduri Lasui Tormi Beisav Achrina. Let's say everybody in that Beisav was Tomei. Well, maybe they go to another Beisav and they switch days, right? You know, that's a complicated thing. Go find a different Beisav. So in that situation, where the whole Beisav is Tomei, they can do it. Betuma, it's a heter for them to do. No, it's still odif. It's still better to do the korban sibur b'tahara, and therefore, if you have another beisav that have Torah Kohanim, go switch with the other beisav. That's one way of learning. Ikedi Amri that afilu hechadi iket Torah nutmeim bahu beisav polik Rav Nachman v'amar abdi nami tmeim. That even if you have one beisav and there's a mixture of Torah and tmeim, even the tmeim in that beisav can do the avodah. The choltuma meis betzibur rachmona sharia. Because the Torah permitted you. Now, Mario, we're going to do